Antonis Art says, "Hi, Ave. I'm Antonis, a 3D artist from Greece. Greece, nice. With 4 years of experience as a 3D journalist at a startup focused on 3D medical education applications. Nice. I'm currently looking to transition into the game industry as a prop environment artist. I'm sharing both my art station and personal portfolio. I mainly use my personal site." Okay, let's take a look at the personal site then. Antonis Tsioulis, 3D artist, real-time VR. Nice. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna jump into the. I'm gonna jump into the art station. It's probably gonna be a little bit easier to navigate. You're welcome, Marcao. You are welcome, my friend. Hopefully the little review helped you. Oh God, there's a lot of like graphical stuff there. Hopefully we don't get like a flag or anything. I mean, it's a game, so that's great, man. That's very fun that you're doing this kind of like VR stuff, Orama. Interesting. So I'm gonna focus on some of the latest artworks. Again, similar thing that I've mentioned before, guys. Darkness on the scenes. It's very difficult to see what's going on if things are super dark. I understand what you were going for, right? Because you wanted to do this sort of like cinematic shot, but this is way too dark. It's impossible to see the model. So it's fine to have a couple of shots where things are cinematic and dark, but also give me some shots that are easy to analyze, to see, because most of this are not. Topology wise, I feel like it's a little bit on the simple side of things, like very blocky. Texturing wise, I like it. There's some nice like play. Now, one thing that I'm questioning is, did you follow a concept or did you do this on your own? Because if you did this on your own, there are gonna be some like design principles that I might not agree with. There you go. That's a little bit easier to see. Oh, these are way too many UDIMs, man. Way too many UDIMs for something like this. Yes, definitely. Yeah, Rimlight can definitely help with something like this. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this project because, again, like presentation-wise, it's difficult to see. It looks like we have way too many textures. And I'm not a huge fan of the design. Again, I know this is like Helldivers, so I'm not sure if this is the design of the Helldivers or whatever. I haven't played the game, but it's difficult to evaluate. Remember that when we're doing a project, that's why following a concept art is so important, because it allows us to like properly evaluate how close or not we were to the whole thing. Okay, the textures on the blade look nice. Again, we're a little bit on the like this is a perfect example, and sorry to be calling you out, my friend, but hopefully everyone can understand why this example right here is not going to help anyone in terms of rendering, because we cannot see anything. It kind of just looks like the metal edgeware. And by the way, of course I'm gonna mention that metal edgeware is not uniform as with this thing right here, but be very careful. If the piece is dark, you usually want a light background. If the piece is light, you usually want a dark background. Not always, but it helps. So something like this works a little bit better. Something like this works a little bit better. Topology wise, this is not optimized. So if and you know this, this is funny because you worked with AR. So if you work with AR, you know that there's like layers or elements right here that we can definitely optimize. For instance, here. This is very common in weapons. When you are doing weapons for games, always look for these lines right here that are completely straight and not changing the silhouette. And what you do is you go to a point where you can literally just create triangles and pretty much eliminate all of these elements and minimize them into a single line. So if I remove all of them, like I know this is not on the actual model, but if I were to remove all of the model and I would just like combine triangles all the way right there. Let's say we have like another triangle right here, and then this line just goes down. It's the exact same silhouette, nothing changes, and we just remove like a bunch of like lines. Same for like this bevel right there. Can you see how there's like an intermediate line going on that bevel? So that edge loop right there that goes inside the line, you can delete that one, and you're not gonna lose anything. You're not gonna remove any sort of like elements or any sort of like silhouette. Same for this one right here. All of this can be simplified into a triangle right here, and then just one line right there. So it's fine to have the divisions here where there's like a curvature and you need it, but you don't need all of the divisions, like for instance here. Like see how all of these lines are completely straight? So you can simplify all of them to the edge and delete some of them, and again, that's going to simplify. Same for the support edge right there. You can delete that one. So Even though in general the topology is fine, there's definitely room for improvement if we want to really optimize this for games. And again, you know this for what's the word? You know this for VR, because we do this in VR quite a bit. We need to optimize things quite nicely. Modular tactical pistol Glock. Okay, this one looks nice. Yeah, it looks a little bit boxy though. Again, I'm not sure if you're following a concept or not. I like the fact that you broke everything down into different pieces, and I like the color variations. But it definitely looks a little bit too blocky, man. If you want to transition, like, this is a very important piece of advice for you. If you want to transition into game productions, one of the things that you're gonna have to do is pick a concept and stick to the concept as perfectly as possible. I've mentioned this before. If we look, for instance, sci-fi gun concept art, don't do another AK-47, don't do another M16, don't do another P90, right? Like, try to go for a concept art that is a little bit more unique, so that you can show how you would translate a concept, right? For instance, there was a very cool one like this one right here. This is great. This is from BioWare, from Mass Effect 2. And it like, ideally, you want to do something that hasn't been done before. So if this one's already been done for Mass Effect, you probably want to skip it. But I can guarantee you're going to find a bunch of different options that are very similar. Try to do one of this, because this is the kind of stuff that you're going to encounter on a day-to-day in productions, where there's no blueprints, there's no reference, there's no nothing except for the drawing that the concept artist did. And that's what you need to follow. That's what you need to really, like, capture in your element. Glocks are unfortunately a very blocky gun, but I feel like some of the elements on this one were not as ergonomic. Yes. Antonis, I'm glad you're here. So I agree. So in certain things, it's good to optimize, and in other things, it's good to add more stuff. Again, like what I just mentioned here on the wireframe, it's not gonna kill the model. Like, it's fine. Like, if you have this wireframe on the game, it's fine. Again, the game's not gonna break or anything. But I do see room for further optimization. One thing that you could do, for instance, as an exercise, could be take this one right here, set this to, I don't know how many polygons, let's say it's like 15K triangles, and then do another version and trying to get it as low as possible to like 5K triangles. And that way you can show both of the options and be like, hey, I know how to work at higher poly count, and I know how to work at lower poly count. Okay? Let's see. I just got here new here. Is it okay to just take a concept art randomly and model it, or do I need permission? It's okay. It's normal. My advice is, when you finish it, send a message to the artist and say, hey, I finished your model. I was inspired by you. Whatever. Thank you. As I mentioned earlier, you might get a notification of them telling you, please don't use it. But I've only had that happen to one of my students in all of my years of teaching. So yeah. Triangles are friends. It's a matter of where to put them. Yeah, I want to make myself a shirt that says stop triangle hate, triangles are your friends, or something like that, because for some reason people tend to be very triangle phobic and that's not nice.